There are so many people out there who want to retire. The word retirement is all over the internet. Lots of people want to retire. Now, I'm not talking about people who are in their 50s and 60s. I'm talking about people in their 20s and 30s. They dream of retiring young. But what if retirement isn't exactly what you think it is? Lots of people dream of retiring nowadays. Remember FIRE, the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early? I don't know who created this term, but people have thought about financial independence going back, I don't know, probably to the days of the caveman. I'm sure there was some guy sitting on a rock in a cave who said, baby, I don't really want to go out and hunt deer today. I think I just want to sit here and draw on the friggin' cave walls. But today everyone thinks about retirement. 20, 30, 40-year-olds. Everyone dreams of quitting their job and retiring. Now, personally, I don't like the word retirement because to me it sounds like an old fat guy who doesn't do anything and sits around all day waiting to die. Okay, so I know that might be a little harsh, but that's what I think of, because most of the old people I know who retire, they're not the people you read about online who reinvented themselves and started a business or volunteered their time or got involved in something. No, they're people who sit around and watch the news all day, screaming at the TV that the world is going to hell in a handbasket and how things were so much easier when they were kids. Yeah, of course, when you were a kid, you had no worries, no responsibilities. Everything's easier when you're a kid. Get over it, old man. Now, a group followed a guy named Russ. They profiled this guy, Russ, who retired in his 50s. And what Russ found is that retirement wasn't exactly what he thought it was going to be. So Russ spent months bouncing between the bed and the couch, eating, watching Netflix, doing nothing. He thought he needed rest. But then it kind of settled into depression. He got depressed. And 6 months later, he realized he needed to do something. And he got a job and went back to work. Now, a lot of retirees, including people who are over the age of 65, they realized that maybe this isn't exactly what I signed up for. Just because I'm retired doesn't mean I'm dead. And they go back to work, usually not in the career that they were involved in when they were younger, but they get a part-time job doing something. And it's not just this guy, Russ. Research shows Americans are doing retirement all wrong. We imagine lounging poolside or going to a golf course, but according to the 2023 American Time Use Survey, retirees 65 to 74 spent 7 hours a day on leisure. 4 of those hours were glued to the TV. 4 hours of watching TV and another 3 doing something else. Well, here's the problem. We're living longer than ever. Okay, 100 years ago, life expectancy was 60 years old. Today it's 77. That's worldwide. So the more advanced countries, it's even older, and the less advanced countries, not so much. But that means you have so many more years to fill in your retirement. And most people aren't spending those years well. So the sedentary lifestyle is leading to earlier deaths. And like I said earlier, it's leading to a more unhealthy lifestyle and often, depression, mental health problems. So what do? Well, this isn't how retirement was supposed to be. Okay, going back to 1889, when the whole concept of retirement started, it was German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck. Many of you might remember that name from high school civics. He created a program for people who couldn't work. And then the United States, Social Security, the program a lot of people rely on for their income, was signed into law in 1935. And when you turn 65, you can officially go on Social Security. But it leads to 2 big challenges for older people. How to fund your golden years financially and how to spend them. So a lot of people will focus on the funding part. They focus on investing and trying to make sure they have enough money for retirement, which is great. I'm with you. That's a good thing to do. But some people don't focus on the other half of that, which is, what are you going to do? Just because you stop working, you quit your job, doesn't mean you're dead. What are you going to do with your time? You got a lot of hours to fill. If you're an office worker who works 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, Imagine all those hours are now open and free. Now, initially, you're going to do nothing but have fun. You're going to do all the things you wanted to do. You're going to go to the movies in the middle of the day. You're going to travel somewhere. You're going to go to lunch with your friends. If you live near the beach, or maybe you're going to go sit on the beach in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week. I've done that. But after you've done all that stuff, what are you going to do with your time? How are you going to live the rest of your life? You've got lots of years left of life. What are you going to do? The answer for many is to keep working. So nearly 19% of Americans over 65, it's 11 million people, are still working. And it's expected to go up by 2032 to 15 million people, which is a lot. More and more people are working later in life because the life expectancy is longer, and they're realizing that even if I can stop working, maybe it doesn't necessarily mean that I should. This affected me personally. I was able to stop working in my late 30s. I made enough money, I was successful, I was self-employed my entire life after I got out of the military. I was a licensed real estate appraiser. I didn't make a ton of money, but I invested. I educated myself, I became a licensed stockbroker, I learned how to invest money, I grew my net worth. My late 30s, I was able to retire. I was a millionaire, I had more money than that. I was able to stop working, but I didn't. I kept working because I like to work. And I've been working since I was 15 years old. It seemed weird to just not do anything. I mean, really, what would I do? I wake up in the morning and what? What am I going to do? So I kept working. Now, shortly thereafter, I did stop working, running my business. I no longer was appraising real estate. Not necessarily because I don't like it anymore, but there were some changes in the industry, my business, and I didn't really feel like I wanted to do it anymore, and I wanted to explore opportunities and do something else. I packed up my car, I drove cross country, and I decided to live my life in Southern California, which is where I am today. I have no regrets. I love it all. I love everything I've done, and I love what I'm doing now. But I had something of a plan. I had something I wanted to get into. Initially, it was difficult. I did have different ideas about what to do, maybe work part-time, maybe volunteer, maybe join the Peace Corps and just take off somewhere and be a nomad. I have no family. I have no real ties anywhere. It's very easy for me to just take off. So it took a little, finding myself to realize what I wanted to do. And I think that affects everybody. At some point in your life, if you get to the point of having financial security, it doesn't mean you're just going to quit working and life is going to be blissful. It's not. You're not dead. You want to do something. And the idea of being inactive, of sitting around, I'd rather go to work every day than do something like that. I'm as active as I've ever been. Now, I've never been an office worker. I've never really had a job. I mean, in my adult life. High school, I had jobs. When I first got out of the Navy, I had a few jobs, but they were all very short-lived. I've been self-employed or a business owner for the majority of my life. So I've never really worked 40 hours a week. I haven't worked 20 hours a week in a very, very long time. So I've never really had that experience. I understand if you're an office worker, you may think how great life would be if you didn't have that job anymore. But if you don't have a plan, if you don't have something to go into, maybe it's not as blissful as you think. There's nothing wrong with working longer until maybe you have an idea of, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to volunteer a few days a week, or I'm just going to work part-time and go for walks every day or go see my kids, grandkids, whatever. But having some kind of plan is always going to be more beneficial than just saying, okay, boss, I quit. And then you go home, you wake up the next morning and you think, okay, what the hell do I do now? You don't want to be one of those people who just works their whole life in the same place, wakes up one day, you're 56 years old, you're able to retire, but you realize you're older, you're fatter, you're losing your hair, and your dick doesn't work. Okay, now maybe that's going a little too far, but you don't want to be one of those people. You want to be active. If anything, maybe when you retire and you stop working, you become more active. You get more involved. Join a group. Start a group. Here in Southern California, there's a hot thing going around called pickleball. I know it's going on all over the country, but there are pickleball courts being built all over the place. And a lot of people generally in their retirement stages of life are jumping in. And I think it's awesome. I see more and more people coming to the gym who are older, they're working out, maybe they're getting in shape for the first time. Hey, better late than never. Have a plan, because no matter what age you are, there's a chance that the idea of retirement just might not be exactly what you think.